One game, that's all it took for the hype to go from speculative to undeniable. Shedeur Sanders stepped onto the field in his NFL debut against the Carolina Panthers, and within minutes, the noise was deafening. You're not just watching a preseason moment, you're watching a shift. A fifth-round pick, buried on the depth chart, walked in with something to prove, and walked out with everyone from NFL veterans to celebrities to fans screaming his name. Seriously, scroll online right now, and you'll find retired players losing their minds, locker rooms watching the replays, and fans chanting the name of a guy they were barely talking about 2 weeks ago. On the sidelines, behind the scenes, and on social feeds, this was the only name that mattered on game day. Was it just hype? Not even close. His mechanics were clean. His decisions were sharp. His patience, his poise, and that touchdown throw from the left side of the pocket between two defenders, that wasn't luck. That was next-level football IQ. And suddenly, the narrative flipped. The questions people were whispering became headlines. Did NFL teams miss badly? Did the league undervalue him on purpose? And just how far can Shedeur Sanders go now that the world is watching? Because this wasn't just about one game. It was about what it set in motion. So before you call it preseason hype, watch the tape and listen to what players, coaches, and fans are all realizing in real time. This might not just be a breakout performance. It might be the beginning of something major. Sometimes it takes a month. Sometimes it takes a whole season. For Shedeur Sanders, it took less than a dozen snaps. From the opening drive, there was no panic. No happy feet. No wasted motions. Just calm observation, smart execution, and a level of poise you don't expect from a guy who entered camp buried on the depth chart. Then came the moment. A bootleg, pressure collapsing, defenders closing in. And Shedeur doesn't just keep his eyes downfield. He fires a perfect laser between two defenders to the back of the end zone. Textbook mechanics, flawless placement, and a throw that screamed, "I've been ready for this." That wasn't your typical rookie rollout. That was a throw you expect from a guy in his third season. Someone who's seen it all, dissected the tape, and knows how to weaponize timing. From there, it was like the confidence just multiplied. Shedeur looked comfortable in the pocket, moved with purpose, diagnosed pressure, slid when he needed to, escaped when the play broke apart, and created something out of nothing more than once. Even the broadcast couldn't ignore it. "Welcome to the NFL," one analyst said. No sarcasm, no wait-and-see logic, just high-level respect for what he did in real time. And it wasn't just the throw or the stats, it was the way he carried himself. Smooth, composed, as if this wasn't his debut, but his expected arrival. Before this game, the narrative was, let's see what the kid can do. Now, it's how long can teams afford to ignore him? You know, a player's debut hits different when athletes and entertainers can't even sit still watching it. The moment Shedeur Sanders started slinging darts against the Panthers, the internet exploded with live reactions from celebrities, former players, and NFL personalities losing their minds in real time. One clip showed a room full of stars literally screaming, "Man time," as Shedeur flexed the wrist and tossed a perfect touchdown off a bootleg. People were pacing back and forth, talking to screens like they were in the huddle. Someone jokingly declared, "We can't take calls from nobody right now, not even women. This is Shedeur time." Another video, it cuts from Shedeur's tight window TD to a chorus of "Let's go" and wild chants. Grown men jumping like they just watched a game-winning buzzer beater. The reactions weren't just hype, they were validation. From comedians to ex-pros, the tone was unanimous. This kid is him. Even in the most cynical corners of sports Twitter, people were quoting the clip with stunned comments like, "That throw ain't normal. He's got the juice. This is not a rookie-level read." And it wasn't just casual fans or celebrities goofing off. Analysts and NFL vets were breaking down the film mid-game, pointing out how Shedeur made pro-level adjustments, manipulated defenders with his eyes, and squeezed throws where most rookies don't even look. In a league where first impressions can disappear overnight, Shedeur Sanders managed to hit pause on everything and make his name trend in every NFL circle. This wasn't just a nice debut. This was a moment where culture, talent, and hype collided, and everyone who mattered was watching. Let's be real. How does a quarterback like this go in the 5th round? Shedeur Sanders didn't fall in the draft because of a lack of tape, talent, or intangibles. He had the numbers, the leadership, the interviews. He had the poise in the pocket, the arm strength, the branding power. Every box was checked, and still, he got passed on by nearly every team in the league. Why? Ask around, and one answer keeps coming up. They wanted to teach him a lesson. Whether it was because of the Dion connection, the media attention, the swagger, or the uncomfortable idea that an athlete could walk in this confident without kissing the ring, some scouts reportedly viewed Shedeur as needing to be humbled. Seriously, you want to talk about ego? The NFL is built on ego. But when a 22-year-old black quarterback carries himself with confidence, suddenly that's a reason to push him down to day 3? It raises questions, not just about how the league evaluates talent, but whether some teams are still clinging to the old politics of football, where charisma is punished unless it comes wrapped in the right identity. And now that quiet little draft day decision, it's looking a lot like fuel, because Shedeur's not bitter, he's locked in. And every throw, every scramble, every smart read is doubling as a loud reminder to the teams that passed. You're gonna have to see me. So yeah, you taught him something. Maybe. But what if the real lesson is this? In trying to control his rise, you may have created a quarterback who's gonna make you regret ever doubting him. In today's NFL, talent alone isn't enough. The league has evolved. Faster, leaner, more unpredictable. Quarterbacks don't just need a cannon. They need control, adaptability, and laser cognition under fire. Shedeur Sanders checks every one of those boxes. You don't survive against blitz-heavy defenses by being flashy. You survive by diagnosing chaos at the line and making decisions faster than defenders can react. And that's exactly what Shedeur showed in his debut. 3rd and long? Man coverage? Pocket breaks down? No problem. He doesn't flinch. He escapes the pocket, sees the field shift, finds the lane, and slides safely for the first down like a 10-year vet. No panic. No hero ball. Just smart football. And then there's the accuracy. You can coach decision-making. You can work on reading defenses, but you can't fake timing and touch under pressure. The throw, where he rolled left and delivered a perfect strike between 2 defenders? That's not luck. That's hours of muscle memory, perfect foot placement, and internal clock awareness all clicking at the right moment. Even more impressive, eyes downfield always. While most rookies drop their gaze when the pocket collapses, Shedeur keeps scanning, making defenders hesitate and giving his receivers extra time. He's calm, neutral, calculated, and it's not just mechanics and movement. It's confidence without carelessness, swagger without sloppiness. He plays like he knows something's coming, but he's never rushing to prove it. This is the prototype. Mobile, accurate, battle-ready quarterbacks who don't just improvise, they strategize on the fly. The question isn't whether Shedeur fits today's game. The question is, how many coaching staffs are smart enough to build around his style before someone else does? You know the one. The play that replayed across your feed 20 times in. One day, pocket pressure coming. Bootleg fake to the right. Defender chasing him down. Shedeur Sanders rolls left, plants his feet mid-sprint, and fires a frozen rope into a 6-inch window between 2 defenders. Touchdown. But let's pause and actually look at what went down here. Rolling left as a right-handed quarterback is already tough. Most can't get their hips square enough to throw with power or precision. Shedeur does both. Seamlessly, he resets his shoulders, commits just enough weight toward the target, and sends a dart through double coverage with pinpoint ball placement. Not close. Perfect. Mechanically, it was clean. But it was more than just mechanics. It was the read that mattered. The defense was playing a zone match hybrid. Most rookies hesitate on that. But Shedeur spotted the rotation early. The corner began to peel off toward the shallow route, and in real time, split-second stuff, he knew, the back of the end zone is mine. Veteran calm, pre-snap awareness, post-snap execution. And it wasn't his first read. It wasn't even his second. That's what changed the conversation. That throw proved he's not just out there improvising off athleticism. He's reading defenses like a pro and processing information faster than the pressure can close in. You don't luck into that throw. You don't stumble into that timing. You either have it or you don't. And as soon as that ball left his hand, you could feel it. This wasn't just a good moment for Shedeur. It was the start of something bigger. Let's get this out of the way. Yes, Shedeur Sanders is Deion Sanders' son, but that's not why he's here. And it's definitely not why he's succeeding. That last name brings expectations, media chaos, spotlight, and pressure. From the moment he began his college career at Jackson State, everything he did was labeled under the umbrella of his father's legacy. Some thought he was only getting looks because of Deion. Others assumed he was just riding that Coach Prime wave all the way to draft day. What they weren't ready for was the reality. Shedeur didn't just survive at Jackson State. He took control. He put up ridiculous numbers, showed elite processing, and evolved into a field general. When he transferred to Colorado, all eyes were on him, waiting to pick apart the product once he left his safety net. Except here's the truth. Even without his father, the tape speaks for itself. Fast forward to the NFL, all that product of Deion's system talk disappeared the moment he stepped onto the field. No handlers, no favoritism, no spotlight gimmies. He entered camp as QB4. He earned every snap, and he delivered in ways that turned silent evaluations into public praise. The throw mechanics, the eyes downfield, the leadership in the huddle. None of that comes from Dad. That comes from Dad. Nights in the film room, hours in practice, internal wiring that doesn't crack under pressure. That's all Shedeur. And let's not forget, being Deion's son can be a double-edged sword. It brings attention, yes, but it also makes teams hesitate. Some worried about drama, media frenzy, distractions, and that's on top of the league quietly wondering if he could be separated from the primetime package. Shedeur answered all of it the best way possible, by showing he's not just part of a legacy, he's building his own. If anything, the Deion son narrative is fading fast. Because right now, Shedeur Sanders isn't being talked about because of his last name. He's being talked about because he can flat out ball. Let's be honest, some teams might already be sweating because Shedeur Sanders isn't just turning heads. He's forcing questions in war rooms across the league. Why didn't we take him sooner? Were we too caught up in narrative? Did we overlook something real? You think organizations like the Giants, the Steelers, or even the Patriots are sleeping well right now? They all had a shot. Some of them needed a quarterback. Instead, they passed. Maybe because Shedeur wasn't packaged the way NFL teams are used to. Maybe because he wasn't the media favorite safe pick. Maybe they thought he needed to be humbled first. Well, now it's their depth charts that might need humbling. Draft weekend, Shedeur was labeled a gamble, a raw project, someone who'd need time, structure, guidance. But barely one game into preseason, he's looking sharper than quarterbacks taken above him. A lot sharper. And that's what makes it sting. Because this wasn't hidden. Anyone who watched the college tape knew. anyone who understood today's game saw it. Some front offices just didn't pull the trigger. Now they're scrambling to act like it won't matter later. But if Shedeur keeps climbing, keeps improving, keeps torching defenses and silencing critics, you better believe someone's going to have to answer the question, what exactly were you afraid of? The league tried to wait him out. Now, they might be watching his rise from the wrong sideline. Because if he becomes the star a lot of people now think he will, those who passed on him may not just regret it. They'll be remembered for it. So what does all this mean? Shedeur Sanders' debut wasn't just a flash in the pan. It was a statement, a declaration that the kid who slipped through the cracks is here to stay, and maybe even dominate. We've seen rookies come and go, hype trains derail, and draft picks fade into obscurity. But Shedeur, he's different. Calm under pressure, sharp as attack, and with a skill set tailor-made for today's NFL. The question now isn't if he can play, it's how far he can go. And that's where things get interesting. Because the NFL is a league that rewards boldness. It rewards teams that take chances on talent, that build around players who bring energy, leadership, and a winning mentality. Shedeur has all of that. And if he keeps this up, the Browns and the league will have no choice but to take notice. But it's not just about football. It's about legacy, redemption, and rewriting the narrative. Shedeur isn't just playing for himself. He's playing to prove that sometimes the biggest stars come from the most unexpected places. So, what's next? Will the Browns commit to him? Will other teams regret passing on a potential franchise quarterback? And how will Shedeur handle the pressure as the spotlight grows brighter? One thing's for sure, this is just the beginning. The NFL and the world is watching. And if you thought his debut was impressive, wait until you see what he does next.